Hebrew home is. For where the heart is, that's where you find a Hebrew home. Hebrew home, Hebrew home. Good morning, Hebrew home. My home, my heart is where the Hebrew home is. For where the heart is, that's where you find a Hebrew home.
Hello, and welcome to Wendy Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, June 3rd. It is so great to see you back with us for another edition of Good Morning Hebrew Home. We have an amazing show lined up for you today. It's a first, I think, in Good Morning Hebrew Home history, which is a cooking segment, right? That's our first, so very excited. Today's weather is, it's a little gloomy, I would say. It's hot and humid, not a great hair day for a lot of us. They're expecting storms later today and a high of 82, so not the best weather-wise. We start our shows off by sharing something about ourselves, and I thought I would share some photos from my last vacation, which was last September, and that's when myself, my husband, and one of my boys, Daniel, we went to Aruba. Has anybody ever been to Aruba? It was my first time being there, and I loved it. I heard great things about it, so we wanted to check it out for a short vacation. So we have a few photos. The place where we were staying at was really nice. They had all this wildlife. They had 2 black swans in a little pond right on the property, and then I guess that's a little iguana. Does that look like an iguana? So so cute. We were not allowed to feed them, but we enjoyed checking them out. And that's the beach was right at our doorstep, more or less, and they had these huts, and we don't like to sit in the sun too much, so for free you can reserve one of those huts. So we would call like the night before or that morning, and we'd say, okay, we want a little cabana thing, and then we spend the day. And that was a beautiful sunset at the beach, and that's my son Daniel looking out, and isn't that just so peaceful? So let us know if you've ever been to Aruba, if you've ever been to a vacation destination similar to Aruba, and you can do that by sending a note, telling any one of our staff members if you have a question or a comment for your hosts, and you can also call us really easily. Just pick up your phone and dial 2813. That's 2813. We'd love to learn about some vacations that you've taken with your family, any special destination spots that you particularly enjoy. So I wanted to share that with you today. I don't know when I'm going on vacation next, but at least I have these memories. Today's lunch menu is chicken in wine sauce, broccoli spears, mashed potatoes with garlic. For dessert, mandarin oranges. Sounds very healthy. For dinner, they're going to have for you soup with cream, which is cream of mushroom, and the entree is spinach pie and pickled beet salad. With dessert, apricots. So enjoy your lunch and your dinner today. I hope it's a good one. Today in history, we have some interesting holidays to share with you. Today is Global Running Day. So do we have any runners out there? Has anybody done some jogging, some running in there, maybe run a marathon like our colleague Darwin shared? Let us know. It's also National Egg Day. So my favorite kind of egg, scrambled. I don't know how everybody likes their eggs here, but I like a good egg. So tell us what you like, if you enjoy eggs, how you make it. It's also World Bicycle Day, and it's World Cider Day. So what do you think they mean by that? Apple cider? Cider vinegar? I'm not quite sure. So tell us if you know what World Cider Day means to you. It's also, don't tell anybody, don't tell my boss, it's National Leave the Office Early Day. Okay, gotta go, bye. Just kidding. Can't leave quite yet. So Allison, close your ears when I tell you that, because can't leave early. It's also National Repeat Day. it's also National Repeat Day. One more time, it's National Repeat Day. So I would just say, go around today and just keep repeating yourself and see, what the response is. That could be kind of funny. Celebrity birthdays include Joe Biden, Anderson Cooper, Rafael Nadal, and Tony Curtis. So I just have to share quickly, I have a very funny Rafael Nadal story. So me and my family were really big tennis fans, and we love watching tennis on TV. And so we were watching a match once. I don't know if any of you saw this match. I don't know if it was the US Open or something, and Rafael Nadal, he was playing, and there was a bug on court, flying around his head, and it was driving him nuts in the middle of his match. And so he goes to the ball boy, and he wanted the ball boy to kill the bug. So we call it Mothgate, because we just thought it was very funny, like, couldn't you get rid of your own moth? You had to call the ball boy in, and so now, hence, Mothgate. That's what we think about when we think about Rafael Nadal. So that's my Nadal story. Hebrew home birthdays: Plinio B, Austin G, Frederick S, and Blanca R. Happy birthday to you. Today's you're a Gemini, which is a great sign. That's my sign too. And your birthday horoscope says that relationships of both a personal and professional nature figure large over the coming 12 months. What you do on your own will change your life for the better, but what you do with other people could transform your existence in ways you can hardly imagine. So that sounds kind of interesting. So it looks like there's going to be some collaboration in your world in the coming 12 months, so enjoy. We wish you a happy and healthy birthday. So now for the best part of the show, today's guest. You know her as one of our co-hosts on Good Morning Hebrew Home, Liisa Murray. She is the supervisor of the tap department and a fan favorite here. So today, welcome, Liisa.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So happy to have you as a guest.
Yes, it feels very different being on this side.
I know.
Yeah.
So you might not know this, and I didn't know this about you, but Liisa is an expert baker. And so each week when we come into the studio, we are always talking to her about, what did you bake this weekend? What are your favorites in the kitchen and all that. So because I'm a big fan and because I can't wait to taste some of Lisa's cooking, we invited her here today. So welcome.
Thank you.
Do you want to I don't know if you shared any with the guests at all in terms of when you first started your first edition of your hosting, talked about what your role is, but maybe you can just share that just to remind our residents and our viewers what your roles and responsibilities are here.
Sure, yeah. So I'm a music therapist, first and foremost. So I do, and that's how I started here at the home. I do programs on the floors and community programs using music as a way to affect change within people. So using music to help people be able to socialize with each other, engage in music for emotional expression. And then when I became a supervisor, I got more engaged in some of the more administrative stuff within the department. So helping supervise staff, being a part of different meetings for planning, while continuing to maintain my role as a member of the care team for my floor.
So in your experience, what kind of transformations have you witnessed through music when people, in our care?
Yeah, so it's really amazing. There's so many things that I see all the time. So I could spend the whole rest of the show just talking about this, but I'll just give you a couple. So one of my strongest memories is of a woman, we'll call her Rini, who was a part of our women's group. And part of our women's group, we wrote an anthem together. We wrote a song that united us as a group, gave us a purpose. And she was a part of the women's group. She came for a long time, and then she went out to hospital, and she came back, and she was really sick and really confused and had a hard time, handling being here. And came to one of my music therapy groups on the floor and was really having a hard time being there. But then at some point she said, "Play We Are Here. Play the song." And asked for the song from the women's group and used that song as a way of calming herself, as a way of remembering where she was, who she is, like what she was there for. And it was really amazing to see her connect with that song that she had been a part of making, and then use that song as a way to help herself calm down and remember what she was here for. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
That really meant a lot to her.
Yeah.
And you touched upon the women's group. Maybe you can just share, because that always impressed me, how just cohesive and powerful really the women's group is here. So maybe you can just share with our viewers about that.
Yeah, so the women's group was a group that I helped run with a few different staff members of all women joining together to discuss issues that related to women, to socialize with each other, to get involved in current events, to talk about, we talked about Eleanor Roosevelt, we talked about women's suffrage. When the Women's March happened in 2016, the women were moved to make their own protest signs, which were then brought by staff members to the Women's March. So, such an inspiring group of women throughout the many years that I helped with that group, who were just so involved in their community and still have so much to give, so much wisdom to impart. I actually have a quote from one of the women from Women's Group above my desk that I look at basically every day. I am just so constantly inspired by the women and all the residents here.
Yeah, incredible group. And now as a supervisor, so you've taken on mentoring other people, really.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel about that in terms of sharing your experience and expertise with the people who are up and coming?
So it's really exciting too to have a new role and a new way of interacting and being able to support our staff as they're growing here and hear their great ideas. We have such an amazing staff across all departments, but of course, TAP is my favorite department. But to be able to hear their ideas and help foster them and help brainstorm with them when there's issues and figure out what to do moving forward, it's really exciting.
Yeah. So now, in terms of the kitchen, why don't you talk to us a little bit about how you started baking?
Yeah.
How you got so into it?
Yeah. So thank you.
Wow, look at this.
Look at the magic of TV. Came from nowhere. Somehow it just magically appeared. So I started baking when I was a kid, actually. So my mom and my aunt are both amazing cooks. It's where I learned everything. And specifically my auntie, which is my grandmother.
Right.
It's the Finnish word for mother. So she was an amazing cook, an amazing baker, and really supported and fostered that for me. My first cookbook came from her. My big treat every summer for my birthday was she would cook me any meal I wanted, which was that's a treat. That's a treat.
Did you have a favorite that she made for you?
It was always a little bit different. The thing that I liked the most, though, and this won't shock you given what I'm about to talk about, was the cake that she would make me. She would make me this excellent chocolate cake. It had a little coffee in it. I didn't know that at the time, but that was part of the secret. And then a white vanilla buttercream.
Oh, yeah. That sounds good.
It's still one of my favorites, for sure. But yeah, she gave me, always supported my baking. So I started probably when I was in 3rd or 4th grade. I told this story on the show, but when I made my first chocolate cake and forgot to put sugar in it. And my father, being the lovely man that he is, said, "Oh, it's great. You just add enough ice cream, you don't even taste it." So, and I've had many misadventures like that along the years, But that's part of baking. Is that you're not going to get it right every time, especially with, I'm starting doing sourdough bread baking. I'm definitely not getting it right all the time. It's about learning. It's about being okay making mistakes. It's about, there's so many variables and being able to be okay with, I made something. It's not perfect,
Right.
but I made it.
So what kind of a chef are you? Do you have a messy kitchen? Do you clean up along the way? Do you actually precisely measure? You just throw things in? Tell us about that.
So I'm definitely, I think other people would say I'm a messy cook, but I don't think I'm a messy cook. I'm cleaning up along the way. It just happens to create a lot of mess.
But you're cleaning up along the way.
I'm cleaning up along the way.
Okay.
But I am, again, I have what my family calls, and my dad gave to me, chaos factor. Somehow, I'll think everything's fine, but then I'll look down and there's flour all over the floor, and I won't know when that happens. So, I have a lot of aprons to clean my clothes. But
and what about measuring? Are you precise? Or
yes.
no?
So in cooking, when I'm cooking meals, I'm kind of, a dash of this, a little bit of this. In baking, very precise. So baking, I have a scale that I measure things to the gram. It's all about precision in baking, because baking is very much chemistry. It's very much like chemical reactions and trying to make things like exactly as they need to be.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's share with our viewers what you created for us today.
So I brought 3 things today. I brought some sourdough bread. This is partially whole wheat and bread flour bread on a 1-day full rise.
Wait, what does that mean? Layman's terms. She's got culinary words here. Okay.
So sourdough bread is bread that's made not with like instant yeast or regular yeast. It's made with wild yeast and bacteria from our environment. So I know it sounds
So what
kind of
does that
crazy.
mean? Where do you get the bacteria from?
So you make what's called a sourdough starter. You just add flour and water, and then within the flour and in the air, there are yeast and bacteria that just live in the environment, and after time, they feed on the yeast and create bubbles, and it rises. And so that's the rising. It's the wild yeast.
Okay.
So, but because it's wild yeast and not factory produced, it takes a lot longer.
How long does it take?
So it can take anywhere from 1 to 3 days. People will do,
Really?
will rise things even longer, but that's what creates the really great taste. So it's really like a kind of fermentation. So, like wine, if you let wine ferment for a long time, it really gives it a beautiful taste. So just like bread, you wouldn't want to let your bread ferment for as long as you do wine, but if you let the bread ferment, that's what builds the sour taste. So
Okay.
it's the bacteria, when they eat, what they create helps create the flavor in the dough.
So how long did that sourdough sit for?
So this one I started cooking on Saturday night, and then I baked it on Monday night. So that's, so 2 days. And
Okay, and what's that?
And so these are digestive biscuits. So these are a whole wheat and wheat germ, like salted shortbread cookie with a milk chocolate cover.
Yum.
And then I brought some cardamom granola as well
Wow.
that I made.
Cardamom is?
So cardamom is a spice that's really popular in both Indian cooking and in Finnish cooking. So my background, my mom's side of the family is all from Finland. So one of the things I brought some pictures is cardamom bread. So this is called pulla. So it looks a lot like challah. You might, if you can see there, the braided style looks very similar to challah. And it's similar in that it is a yeasted enriched dough, but this one has like sugar on top. And cardamom is kind of a floral spice. It's kind of hard to describe, but when you taste it, you go, oh yes, I've tasted that before.
You didn't make those, though, did you?
Oh yeah, I made those.
Oh, look at that. That looks like professionally made.
Thank you.
Wow, that's so impressive.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Do you have more pictures? or-
Yeah, I have a couple more pictures on there too of other things.
Oh.
That's an olive oil cake with lemon and rosemary.
Oh, yum. That
Yeah,
sounds good.
that was very good. Those are peanut butter brownies that I made.
Oh, my.
Yep. And those are blueberry muffins that I made.
Yum.
Yeah.
Did you
And
ever-
then back.
Did you ever think about being a baker?
No, I'm not. I'm still very much an amateur. I mean, I appreciate your compliments, but there's so much that goes into cooking. One of the things that really inspires me actually is watching shows with cooking.
Okay.
So I've been watching like British Bake Off
Okay.
or Bon Appetit YouTube channel has a lot of cooking shows too. If you can watch that.
So do you watch those like Gordon Ramsay, like Hell Kitchen things?
Yes, I have watched those in
I
the
don't know how to
past
say that
too.
word on the same video, but okay. Hell Kitchen.
Yes.
So do you enjoy those too?
I do. I like all cooking programming basically. I think it's so interesting because I think also, food is how we care for each other. Food is how we show that we want to take care of someone else. And so one of my favorite things to do is to cook something and share it with someone, or to cook for somebody, or to bring them some food, because I think it says, I was thinking about you and I want you to enjoy this. you know?
Absolutely. It's also nice to do it together with somebody. My son Ben and I have taken up baking on the weekends.
Oh, that's lovely.
Not to your level of expertise, but and he's gluten free, so we always scour the internet for gluten free recipes, and so we found a great one for chocolate chip cookies.
Yes.
And we use cream cheese in it.
Ooh.
Just a little dab, but cream cheese and the brown sugar and all that. And
I
it's
bet that's
so
great.
good. But it has to, and it sits and xanthium gum. Have you ever worked
Yes,
with
I
that?
have that too, yes. So I have some friends that are gluten-free as well, and, you know, I find that to be, it's its whole own adventure, right? Because it's figuring out how to make a similar end product, but in different ways.
Right.
So that's very cool.
Yeah. So we, like with our cookie recipe, like it would have to sit in the refrigerator for like 3-4 hours for, I don't know what's happening. It's rising like your thing or whatever, but anyway, but yeah, it's really good. And then we tried a new recipe and we took Hershey's chocolate bars and we switched them up and then used that instead of chips.
Ooh, that sounds real good.
So that was quite good too. Before you leave, because we're running out of time, so we're going to ask you the same 4 questions that we ask all of our guests, which is, this one is a funny one though for you, like what is your favorite food?
I mean, how do you choose? Truly, how do you choose? But I will say right now, my favorite food is sourdough bread. Yeah.
When you eat your bread, do you like it just plain, or do you like to put butter, or what do you put on it, jam?
My favorite thing to do right now actually is to toast it and put a little hot honey on it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a little honey that's been infused with like Reaper peppers. And it's so good. I love spicy food.
Do you heat the honey in the microwave, or you put it on a pan and heat it, or?
No, I just drizzle it on top. That's it.
Yum.
Yeah.
Okay, if a movie was being made about your life, what celebrity would you want to play you?
You know, and I knew these questions were coming, and I should have thought of this ahead of time. Oh my gosh, what celebrity would I want to play me? You know, I'm just gonna say Reese Witherspoon. I love her.
Oh, she's good.
She's so great.
If you have a lucky number, what is it?
7. You know,
7.
classic.
Okay. And if you were not human, what animal would you be and why?
This one I have thought about. So I am obsessed with whales. I would be a humpback whale, and I would get to swim through the oceans and just be basically at the beach all the time. You know?
Oh, that sounds heavenly.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. We're going to enjoy Lisa's goodies after the show is over. But thank you so much for sharing all your expertise and for taking the time to bake goods for us. So we're enjoying trying them.
Of
So
course.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so we are going to close our show with our positive news story. And before we do that, let's talk about what's upcoming with programming, which is Bible study with Rabbi Noah pretty soon at 11, wellness with Deborah at 1:30. There's a concert with Larry today at 2:30. And if you want to see our silly show again, you can see it at 6:30 live. Oh, well, not really live, but it was live when it happened. So we'll close the show with some positive news stories. And I thought 2 things to close the show. One is to welcome the month of June. It's a great month. And they say that it was likely named for the Roman goddess of Juno, the patroness of marriage and the well-being of women. So in keeping with our women's group and girl power, female power, I thought that'd be nice to share. June 20th is the summer solstice. So that's the start of summer, and you get the most daylight, so that's a good time of the year. And then because Lisa was here, I looked up what are the most popular American breads, and I thought that would be kind of relevant. So, top 10 list is number 10, and tell us if you have had these, if you like these, we definitely want to hear your thoughts. Pan de Mallorca is in number 10. I don't know, Lisa, these are some things you're going to have to try.
Yeah.
Number 9 is Cuban bread. No, Lisa's nodding, she knows what that is. Okay. 8 is Johnny cake. Okay, she does not know what that means. Okay, number 7, pepperoni roll. So I'm assuming you make bread and you put the pepperoni in it. Okay. Number 6, fry bread. Do you know what that is? Lisa knows what that is too. Boy, she's quite the expert here. Okay. 5, Texas toast. Does anybody know what Texas toast is? I don't know what that is. We're going to have another show with Lisa to explain all this. Number 4, California sourdough bread. Number 3, one of my favorites, New York City bagels. The schmear, right? Okay, let's see. Oh, this is, okay. Number 2, cornbread. Yum. And number 1, Allison is going to love this. Do you guys remember what Allison enjoys? Banana bread. Woohoo! That's number 1. So that is our show for today. Take care, and thank you so much for sharing some of your day with me. See you next time.